Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are analyzing a choice that, well, according to our source material, is really going to define this century. When we talk about artificial intelligence, is it actually being designed to serve us, or are we going to end up serving the intelligence we create? It's a pretty fundamental dilemma.
It really is. And that choice, it's right at the heart of this comprehensive vision paper we're unpacking today. It's from EON Reality, released back in late 2025, and it's titled Team Human. The AI age belongs to us all.
Team Human. Okay.
Yeah, and their mission is, let's say, ambitious. They want to argue that humanity's only real path forward rests on, well, radically democratizing intelligence, empowering billions of new creators rather than, the current trend of power concentration.
Okay, so the paper sketches out two very different futures for us, for you listening. Path A, which they label Team Machine, sounds, frankly, quite bleak. It's a world where tech conglomerates concentrate pretty much all the AI power. Humans become passive users, living on what the paper rather sharply calls algorithmic welfare without purpose. Ouch.
Yeah, it's a stark picture. And that leads directly to their alternative, Path B, Team Human. This is where intelligence is inherently distributed, it's human-centered, and its main purpose is augmentation.
Augmentation, so amplifying people.
Exactly. Acting as an amplifier for human capability, turning, theoretically, every learner into a creator. And the paper's entire argument really hinges on this conviction that knowledge is the currency of dignity.
That phrase, knowledge is the currency of dignity, it's powerful. So if that's the currency you need to spread around, what's the paper saying is the cost of concentrating it, like in that team machine path?
Well, the cost is dignity itself, ultimately. And wealth, too.
Yeah.
The source argues that when AI intelligence gets concentrated, it just inevitably leads to information asymmetry.
Meaning only a few people know what's going on?
Pretty much.
Oh.
Only a few understand how the systems work, and the rest of us are sort of relegated to being passive recipients. And maybe more importantly, Path A limits our global capacity for innovation because it ignores this massive untapped source of human capital.
Which, I guess, brings us to this historic rebalancing they talk about. If the goal is truly distributed intelligence, then the paper suggests we need to shift our focus south, to the global south.
Precisely. The material argues the global south is positioned not just as, a consumer market, but as humanity's innovation workshop. And the next major engine of value creation, this is driven by sheer scale. The paper projects that by 2050, the global south will represent something like 92% of the world's population.
92%. Wow.
Yeah. Ignoring that demographic reality is basically ignoring the future of economic output, according to them.
Okay, so this is where the regional examples get interesting. India, for instance, they highlight it as a model for scale. Already the world's fourth largest economy, I think, and they have, 82 or more gigawatts of solar capacity installed.
That's right. And the argument is that high population density, which many traditionally see as a challenge, can actually be transformed into creativity density.
How so?
When you combine it with these intelligence tools and cheap, accessible energy, suddenly scale works for you.
Okay. And then Africa. They mention a leapfrog effect there.
Yeah, and it's maybe the most compelling example. They note the continent is adding around 40 GW of solar annually. Critically, they're bypassing the need for those slow, expensive, traditional grids.
Ah, so they build distributed systems from the start.
Exactly. Microgrid ecosystems that can power local AI villages, learning centers. They're essentially building the future without the baggage of the past infrastructure.
And the key idea connecting these regions, the one that really stood out to me, was this phrase, problem density equals opportunity density.
Yes. In these high-density regions, every unmet need is basically a prompt for innovation. So when you pair that dense cluster of problems with cheap AI and abundant solar power, boom, you get incredibly high innovation density.
It makes sense. But all that regional energy needs some kind of global framework, right, to connect it all.
It does. And this leads directly into their idea of a global, unified structure they call the Human Alliance. EON Reality describes its own role as providing a bridge philosophy. So not replacing regional strengths, but connecting them. Turning potential into shared, decentralized prosperity.
Okay, a bridge. But how do you create a global solution without just creating another big top-down tech structure? That seems tricky.
Well, that's where their framework of 3 pillars comes in. They detail the specific contribution they see from each major regional bloc, arguing that success needs all 3 working together. Synergy.
All right, let's break that down. Pillar 1.
First, innovation from the West. They call it the spark. That's the open research culture, is the individual creativity that, kicked off the digital and AI revolutions in the first place.
Okay, the initial spark. Then what?
Then you need the infrastructure and efficiency to actually execute that spark globally. That's scale from the east. The engine. This includes mass manufacturing, infrastructure development, and spreading the new three everywhere.
The new three, remind me.
Ah, yes. That's solar power, high-density batteries, and affordable AI hardware. They see this as the essential triad because it makes computation and sustainable power cheap and ubiquitous, which you absolutely need for democratization.
Got it. Solar, batteries, AI hardware. So spoke from the west, engine from the east. What's the third pillar?
The third is what gives the whole thing purpose, they argue. Spirit from the south, the soul. This provides the humanity, the focus. They point to the youth, the diversity, the resilience, and that problem density we just talked about.
So the problems become the source of purpose.
In a way, yes. The ingredients that will humanize intelligence, give AI direction, and importantly, empathy. It's a really holistic view of global resources.
Okay, that's a compelling framework. West, east, south, spark, engine, soul. So how does this translate into action? What's the mechanism for actually turning all this potential into, well, prosperity?
Right, the practical part. That brings us to the central operational mechanism, their value creation stack. Think of it as a 4-layer architecture designed to transform electrons, basically energy, directly into income.
Electrons to income. Okay, that sounds ambitious. How is the stack structured?
You nailed it from the ground up. Layers 1 and 2 are the power foundation. Layer 1 is solar energy and clean generation. Layer 2 is battery and storage infrastructure. This dual focus is absolutely critical.
Why both? Isn't solar enough?
Well, solar's intermittent, right? Sun doesn't shine at night. You need robust storage to guarantee 247 operations for the AI. Without reliable, constant energy, the paper bluntly notes, intelligence sleeps.
Makes sense. Intelligence needs power. So once the power is stable, what's layer 3, the intelligence itself?
Exactly. Layer 3 is all about intelligence, the AI models, and the compute clusters. Now, what's really critical here for the democratization model they're pushing is that it has to integrate OpenAI models from multiple sources.
Not just proprietary ones.
No, definitely not. They specifically mention needing Western open source models alongside the, frankly, incredible growth of China's OpenAI revolution.
Okay, hold on. Can you quickly define what open weight means here? And why is China's role mentioning models like DeepSeek and Quinn so important for this idea?
Sure. So open weight means the core parameters, essentially the brains, the AI model, are publicly available. You can look at them, tweak them, run them yourself locally. This is the opposite of closed source models where only the company knows the inner workings.
And why is that crucial?
Because it directly prevents power concentration. If anyone can access and adapt the core tech, it's much harder for one entity to dominate. The paper notes that Chinese open-weight models power something like over 60% of the top-ranked open models globally. So collaboration here isn't optional. It's essential for building truly non-concentrated AI infrastructure worldwide.
Fascinating. Okay, so that's the intelligence layer, fueled by open models. What's the final layer, layer 4? Where does the value actually land?
Layer 4 is the goal. Prosperity. This is about skills and entrepreneurship platforms. This layer translates the intelligence generated by the stack into actual income for people, effectively turning citizens into creators.
How? Is there a specific tool or platform?
Yes, this is facilitated by what the paper calls the Wealth Weaver platform. It's designed to create earned universal basic income. The key word is earned. Through creation, through contribution, not through passive handouts or welfare.
Earned UBI through creation. How does that look in practice, especially for big global challenges like, say, education gaps?
Well, the implementation goals they mention in the why, what, how section are quite concrete. For example, addressing the deficit of, I think it's over 17 million teachers in the global south.
How?
By using immersive learning.
Immersive, like VR and AR.
Exactly. XR learning, extended reality powered by AI tutors. This system provides personalized instruction in over 40 languages. It allows them to build dynamic, scalable education ecosystems almost overnight, filling that teacher gap with personalized AI support.
That does sound like a really tightly integrated system. Energy, AI, skills, income. But we've seen big tech initiatives before. What really makes this team human approach unique compared to other large-scale programs?
I'd say two main things really stand out. First, the integrated stack itself.
Yeah.
It's pretty unprecedented because it connects the entire value chain. Energy flows to storage, which powers intelligence, which builds skills, which generates income. It's designed as a closed-loop economic system, ideally fostering local autonomy.
A closed loop. Okay. And the second thing.
The second is the philosophical positioning. The ethical guardrails they put on the technology. The framework explicitly mandates augmentation over automation. Human oversight is key. Local cultural adaptation is built in.
So the tech adapts to the community, not the other way around.
Precisely. They're very clear on that. And their success metrics reflect this. They aren't just focused on market cap or, how much data they can hoover up. They track what they call measurable human impact.
What does that mean specifically?
Specifically, cognitive diversity activated. How many minds are being empowered and brought into the creative process? The document explicitly states their guiding principle. We're not competing for data, we're competing for dignity.
That is a powerful distinction. Competing for dignity, which I guess brings us neatly to the core mathematical idea, or maybe philosophy, in the paper The Renaissance Equation.
Yes, this is sort of their grand synthesis. They wrap the entire vision into a single formula for the future. Energy is intelligence, empathy. Civilization 2.0.
Energy times intelligence times empathy.
Yes, empathy is the crucial multiplier. They frame this whole shift not just as a tech upgrade, but as the global human renaissance, uniting humanity potentially in a single cognitive network.
And they call AI the printing press of the soul. That's quite poetic. Does the source give any practical sense of what that means? How does an AI tutor, say, reach the soul?
Well, I think it comes back to the personalization and freeing up human potential. The argument is that by letting AI handle the rote, mechanical tasks like grading basic quizzes or delivering standard info, it frees the human mind, both the learners and the teachers, for higher order stuff.
Like creativity, critical thinking.
Exactly. Creativity, local problem solving, mentorship, emotional connection. The AI tutor isn't meant to replace the human teacher's soul, but to handle the drudgery so the human capacity for empathy and deeper connection can flourish. The printing press idea is about distributing that truly personalized, dignity-affirming knowledge and opportunity to everyone, everywhere, like the original press did for text.
Okay, I see. So at the end of the day, we're left with that stark choice presented right at the start. We can either watch automation decide our future, or we can actively try to build one where we harness AI's power for, well, global human flourishing. The paper sounds like an open invitation for collaborators to join this human alliance.
It is. And their main ask for governments or institutions is critical if we want to avoid that power concentration we talked about. They need investment in building concrete skills to jobs to income pipelines, not just relying on passive welfare systems.
So focus on earned prosperity.
Yes. That focus on earned prosperity, powered by open collaboration connecting that Western innovation, Eastern scale, and Southern vitality, they see that as the ultimate barrier against Team Machine.
It really shifts the focus, doesn't it? Away from just data and towards human capability. So given this whole vision, how crucial do you think that open collaboration actually is, connecting those three forces, West, East, South? Is it just nice to have, or is it absolutely essential to stop AI power concentrating?
Oh, I think based on their argument, it's absolutely essential. It's the only way, really. Concentration thrives on scarcity, on proprietary knowledge, on closed systems. Collaboration, especially between such diverse economic and cultural regions, inherently builds in redundancy.
And checks and balances.
Exactly. Checks and balances, local adaptation, constant pressure on the system to stay open. Think about it. Without the scale and manufacturing momentum from the East, and without the problem-solving drive, and frankly the demographic weight of the South, Western innovation left on its own could easily centralize again. The alliance is the mechanism for decentralized control, according to this paper.
A truly global effort to keep intelligence in human hands. Well, this has been fascinating. We really encourage you, the listener, to think more about these ideas, hyper-humanism, cognitive diversity as maybe the real global capital for the future. Thank you for diving deep with us today.